life cycles are getting shorter. Why Apple has to really launch a new version? It's not the new technology, it's just rewrapping, repackaging, and then making another version 9, version 10, version 11. Because psychologically people need something new. That is how they keep surviving themselves, right? Now, one thing I would like to think about, look, this is all common sense, right? We are talking about strategy. It's all common sense. So I just want to remind you that anybody could learn this. If you go a little deeper into these issues and try to understand, that's all about strategy, that's what we're talking about. You can manage a company as a CEO if you understand these things. There are no physics rules or there are no other technical things. I could never become an engineer because I did not have the basic education. But I like these areas, business management, because you don't need, and even to become a CEO, you don't need any certification. What about these college dropouts, billionaires? What credentials they have to run these multi-billion-dollar businesses? Is their personal capability. They learn a lot. Of course, they have some God-gifted things, but also they learn a lot and they are capable of driving these multi-billion-dollar businesses. So this is a huge opportunity if you are in the corporate environment. If you have already spent 10, 15 years, there is a lot of opportunity for you, and you need to look how could you translate in those opportunities for you to benefit your career and your rewards, whatever you're looking for. Okay, so let's move forward. So customer value is basically two things, very important. One is the utility and functionality. So Starbucks coffee taste really matters here. Not for everyone, but it's an important element. And then branding the perceived value. Now what is happening, more and more businesses are relying here because this is easier. So all human beings have limitations in terms of their emotional thinking, and basically we are emotional beings. It all depends how strong the message we see. And if there's a very good ad or commercial, you tend to react to that ad or commercial as sellers and marketers want. Apple iPhone 10, Galaxy Notebook 4, more or less the same, but big difference in terms of their success because the perceived value. Okay. So now I would like to take you in a case study for the next 30, maybe 40 minutes, depending upon the introduction, explaining the same concept we have touched upon so far. And this would clearly explain to you how the value is created in different market environments. Any questions, comments so far before we go into that case study? Okay, so this is related to mid-size car market in North America, USA mainly. And the time period is between 2000 to 2003. So just think back, I'm not sure whether you were observing that market or not, but just keep in mind that was the time frame we are talking about. So Toyota Camry fall in that category, mid-size car market, and they are very strong leader for a very long period of time. Few assumptions here. So these prices are not exact, they are approximate. Just to make it clear, there are some adjustments. Selling price at that time for our Toyota Camry, $22,500, right? It's a little bit higher, but not much different. So for the sake of simplicity, let's assume that we are going to use index for that price. So let's say Toyota Camry selling price is 100 in terms of index. I'll come to benefit to customer later. Cost, let's assume what, 90. So they were making 10% profit margin. 90 cost, 100 selling price. Now, one thing to understand the value to the customer, imagine that you are in the experience of buying a car. Now it's a valuable thing. It's quite expensive, and you have done your research, you have done your homework before making a decision which one to buy. Once you buy, the moment you commit to that purchase, you have a feel of satisfaction, accomplishment, psychologically. You think you have made a good deal. You buy things, especially the expensive one, only when you feel I'm getting a good deal. Good deal doesn't mean that you're paying $22,500 and you're getting benefits exactly to the equivalent to $22,500. No. Subconsciously or consciously in your mind, you are getting a lot more value. Marketers know that very well. And that is why they try to change your mindset with the branding and the perceived value. So this is a universal fact, and I'll explain in more detail how does it work. But let's assume in this case that when you bought this product, Camry, for $22,500, let's say in your mind you were getting additional value of 10%. That was over and above the price because it was a good deal for you. So benefit to the customers is 110. You paid 100, but as a happy customer, as a loyal Camry Toyota customer. Why people line up for iPhone new version? Because they think they are getting more value than what they are paying. Even people happily paid more than $1,000 for iPhone 10 version, right? So value created to customer is 10. Now customer is not concerned about the profit or loss. Customer even doesn't know whether the company has made any profit or not. Customer only know his own value, and there he's thinking that I got 10% more than what price I paid. Company made 10% profit. Selling price minus cost, 1090. So shareholders got, the profit is for shareholders, right? So shareholders got 10% profit or value. Customer got 10% value. Total value created in this deal is 20. Just for the sake of this example. Clear? Everybody agree with the assumptions here, right?
Sorry, how did you measure the customer value? I spaced out for a second.
I'll come to that later.
Okay.
Just hold that thought.
All right.
I'll explain you how we reach or how the actual businesses work on that. So Toyota Camry at that, even today is very strong. They are one of the, or the market leader in the mid-sized market, but at that time they're very strong. Another brand, you must have heard, by the way, these are the definitions. So benefit to the customer, perceived value, is their perceived value equivalent to willingness to pay. So let me explain that here. It would make more sense. Successful marketers know that the customers who are happy, they have a high perceived value than the price they are paying. They know it very well. And this has been proved in the case of Apple. So what happened? Apple was for a long time contemplating should they increase the price of their iPhone, because the loyalty level is very high. And they were not sure that how much they should increase. And finally they took the decision to offer the iPhone 10 version at crossing $1,000 price point, which was very crucial and critical. Now there are different point of views in the market, they were successful or not, but I think if you look at the financial results they have just released last week, 22% net profit margin is unheard of in electronics business. And sales has grown significantly, so I think that was a successful venture. Now how Apple knows? Because it's very risky venture. That one product could have failed the entire range of the product for Apple. So what marketers do, seasoned marketers, they keep surveying customers. So for example, if there are 30 million customers for Apple, of course they cannot ask 30 million people, they will say, let me ask 3,000 customers. This is manageable. So they will hire an ad agency or marketing agency or themselves. They will go to 3,000 customers and ask this question that, look, you have an iPhone 7. How much did you pay? We'll say 600 or 700. Okay, if we increase the price of this 700 iPhone 7, would you still buy it? If we make it 800, would you buy it? Because customers are very happy, delighted, loyal. They will say, yeah, I will still buy it for $800. And they keep asking this price, raising the price. So what about 900? What about 1,000? And of course, there is a point you will say as a customer, yeah, I will pay 900, but not more than that. That 900 is called willingness to pay. This is a very well-established marketing concept, willingness to pay. So all these consumer companies, they keep doing these surveys, not for all the customers, but a good size sample of customers, asking them, what is your willingness to pay, so that they could understand whether they should increase the price or not. Apple did exactly the same thing, good results, and they decided to increase the price. So that is how we measure the perceived value or willingness of customers. So I think, Brian, I have answered your question. Did you get it?
Well, yeah, so I did my dissertation on cost-benefit analysis. So what you're saying is, yeah, the willingness to pay minus the actual cost.
It's subjective area,
yeah.
Very much subjective. They are not actually paying anything. It's just perceived value. That
Yeah,
if I have to pay more, I
to
will
say
still.
they've got $10 or 10% value, you have to measure something.
For example, I'm using this MacBook, right? And so far there is no direct competition for this MacBook. If they increase the price by $100, I will pay that happily, because I want to keep this product with me. Even if there is a competitive product with another brand like HP making exactly the same product, my perception of Apple is much better. Although it may technically comparative equally, I would still, based on my perceived value and brand, I would still go for Apple. Maybe I would still pay $50 more for that product, simply because of Apple. Perceived value, very important. So here we are talking about perceived value. Toyota, very strong brand, well proved, durable, good value for money. 10% is reasonable to assume. I don't know what is exact, but we have just assumed, right? So at this time, another well-known brand, Hyundai. Hyundai was contemplating to enter this North American market at that time, 2000. And the very special characteristic of the North American market in the auto industry is that this is still the largest market in the world for autos. Now, China has exceeded in terms of the number of vehicles, but in terms of value, US or North America is still the highest value market. And almost every global brand is here. So in the auto industry, for every brand who want to be a global brand or successful, it is very critical for them to be present in the North American market. If they are not in the USA market, their success is not yet proven. So for Hyundai, Korean brand, doing very well at that time in Asia, by the way. It was their passion to enter in this market and establish themselves. Now, first competition they were facing from Toyota Camry. Again, today Hyundai is very successful. Think of 18 years ago. Many people even didn't know what Hyundai is, the Korean brand. And if you tell it's a Korean brand, they'll say, gee, forget about it. That is what their challenge was. So in strategy, one thing is what works, what does not work. If you look at a very successful model, business, and you say that, look, Apple is doing this, and they are successful. If I will do exactly this, I would also be successful. Big mistake. Because first thing you need to answer, why customer would come to you? Even if you have the same product, why customer would come to you? So you need to change the proposition, customer value proposition, why customer would buy from you. You need to change the mix a little bit to make it attractive, right? So what Hyundai decided, Hyundai said, okay, of course, we cannot offer this product or this car, Hyundai Sonata, competitive with this Camry, at the same price. So of course, they need to offer the price lower than that. So they decided to lower the price 5%. It was exactly a little bit different, but let's assume 5% for the sake of simplicity. So price index they offered 95 compared to 100 in this market. Now, to answer this question, why someone would buy Hyundai compared to Toyota Camrys at that time? Car is very, even at that time, in terms of quality, performance, it was very compatible with Camry. But Camry, Toyota is a very well-established brand. There is a lot of loyalty. You need to do something special to break that type of loyalty and brand image and perception. So what Hyundai did, most auto manufacturers around the world, they usually offer 5 years powertrain warranty. It's very standard. Toyota and all of the 5 years powertrain warranty. Hyundai came up with 10 years warranty, 10 years, double of that. At that time, even today, they're still offering 10 years powertrain warranty. That was one thing which exceeds the value from Toyota Camry, number one. Number two, quality standards in US and North America are pretty tough. Somehow they were able to get 7-star rating in terms of quality. That was another thing that, look, it's a new brand, but 10 years power warranty and 7-star rating. What else you need? Now, incidentally, I was in this market, auto market, as a potential buyer at that time. So that's why this study is very close to my heart, because I went through the same process. And I was very closely looking at Hyundai Sonata. Now, I wouldn't say, although I like Apple too much, maybe more than I should, but I'm more like a value guy, not a brand guy. I look for value for money. So in terms of personal items, especially, I never go for brand, I look for value. So I was looking for a very good value deal in terms of Hyundai Sonata. Car looks beautiful. It has everything what, in terms of functionality, what Camry was offering. So I said, it has same thing. And then on top of it, it's coming with 10 years warranty and 7-star rating. So the risk associated with a Korean brand, which is unknown, was that the car may not function. Quality may be bad. We are covered because 7-star rating is there, 10 years power warranty. What else you need? So I feel satisfied and secure. In addition, 5% price discount. I went for it. I bought Hyundai Sonata. And of course, I'm not the representative of the entire market, but a lot of other people did that. Long story short, Hyundai continued to do that approach, offering more value for customers, not for everyone, by the way. There were customer segments who are very much for Toyota brand. They would never buy a Korean brand against their liked brand of Toyota Camry. But I was not very loyal to Toyota ever. For me, it's an easy deal. It was a good deal, so I bought it. Toyota continued, and few years, they were very successful, increasing the market share. And by the way, I kept that car for 6 years, and I was very happy with that. In fact, I have 2 cars at that time. I had Ford Windstar and this Hyundai Sonata. I had more problem with Ford Windstar than Hyundai Sonata. I decided not to buy ever another American car. I did not afterwards. I was so happy with Hyundai Sonata that after 7 years, I bought another Hyundai Sonata for my daughter because she needed a car. And a lot of people did that, so it became very successful in few years, let's say 3, 4, 5 years, Hyundai Sonata was very successful. And of course, the price positioning changed. But let me complete this story here. There is another brand called Kia, right? Everybody familiar with Kia? Kia is also a Korean brand. And Kia also had the same ambition to enter this North American market, US market. And they were watching this very closely, what Hyundai is doing and how they are succeeding in this market. And they said that if we do exactly what Hyundai did, we would also be successful. So they tried to copy the same strategy from Hyundai. And they offered there is a compatible model in the middle car. I have this brand somewhere. So they offered even 5% lower at 90 index of the Camry and 95 to Hyundai Sonata at that level. Now price positioning was good, but what happened, and they did all the marketing and branding, somehow Kia was not able to establish the same perceived value in the mind of the potential buyer as Hyundai did. Somehow, again, this is mystery. We cannot explain that, why something works, why something does not work, but Kia did not work. So what happened with Kia? People did buy Kia, but their value to customer was only 5%. They paid 90 index price and they were satisfied to the extent of 95, not more than that. That's one thing. Also, because of offering this product at 90% price index, there was also not much profits for the company. Now, auto industry is very competitive. So usually, 2 different cars of the same size, they are very competitive in terms of cost because there are not many parts suppliers different. You cannot negotiate. So cost is more or less the same. Of course, Kia, they try to position themselves on the lower end. They might have compromised in terms of cost, so only some cost advantage. But in terms of profitability, it was only 2% for shareholders compared to 5% and 10%. And in terms of the customer value, it was also lower. Total value created in these 3 examples, 2027. Now, Hyundai and Toyota are getting the same total value. What benefit Hyundai achieved here by offering the lower price? If you notice here, the value to the customer is highest in the case of Hyundai. They, rather than shifting that value to shareholders in terms of profit, they shift it to the customer by offering a lower price, giving more value. Now what happens when you are very happy with the deal? This deal is fantastic, I got an extremely good deal. What happens? You want to go again. That is one strategy for many companies, businesses, to increase market share. Because Hyundai was new into the market, they need to leave some value with the customers. So while they are making a deal, they could have sell at the same price at Camry. But customer would not be that happy. So make the customer extremely happy. They left the money on the table for customers, less for shareholders. So that customer. So I bought another Hyundai Sonata after 7 years. A lot of other people must have done it, right? And in the case of Kia, even Kia didn't find much room to play with it. Their strategy more or less failed by copying Hyundai. So market sustained one additional brand with a similar strategy, but not another third brand. And especially, I think they also made some mistakes in the marketing by positioning Kia as the bargain model or bargain brand. Even today, its image is not really that good as other brands are. Right? Question, comments?
So all these are boiling down to one more fact that to increase the customer value or perception, you need to get into advertisement.
Advertising is one way,
Yeah.
but there are different ways and means to create perceived value.
Yeah, okay, I understand. But majority of the perception come from the heavily invested advertisements.
Yeah, I would
In
call
your
it
model-
marketing.
In your model,
because-
I don't see the ad or creating the ways of creating the customer value as another component.
Yeah, as I said, advertising is very one limited narrow area. I would say that companies do a lot of other things, publicity, public opinion, surveys, And that's all together is marketing. So they use marketing tools
Yeah.
to create a perceived value.
Yeah, I could have used marketing, not
Yeah.
the advertisement.
Yeah.
Marketing
Right.
is the one.
Yes.
But in your flow, there is no component called marketing as a separate.
No, I'm explaining you that all this customer value they are creating is by marketing. So I'm not trying to explain each and everything because that's tons of data.
Okay.
I'm just trying to focus on the core concept here. I'm trying to explain how to create customer value and how to use it for future expanding the market share or profitability, right? Okay, so let's take one more example in this scenario and then we'll move on. One more scenario is BMW 3 Series. Now BMW 3 Series is not directly comparative with the mid-sized market, not directly, but it's close. If these prices are some like 20, 22,000, it's close to somewhere 30,000. It's still in that category. Why did I include that? Because at one point of time, I was also a potential buyer for BMW 3 Series. I was looking at that, so I was comparing, my experience was entirely on this mid-size, and I was looking at BMW 3. Now BMW 3 is a different category. As I said, just be careful, it's not directly comparative or compatible. Price is very high means compared to these. So price index is 130. Benefit to customer 150, look at that. Now that is a strategy or brand image or perception which has been developed over a long period of time. You cannot create another BMW in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. So it's not copyable, but they are gaining the benefit, they are at their level of maturity. Total cost also high, 110. So value created total 40, value to customer is 20, value to shareholders is 20. So BMW is not competing with Camry. BMW has its own positioning and niche where they are very happy, satisfied. It's not in the mainstream, but wherever they are happy. They are creating good value for customer, they are creating good value for shareholders. Toyota Camry, well established in their domain, creating good value for customer, creating good value for shareholders. Hyundai, different stage, growing market share, they needed, that is why they left more value with the customers. Let me bring another, so let's further analyze it. By the way, this framework is for your reference called B minus C framework in strategy terms. And B minus C framework basically explains that you have benefit to the customer, the perceived value, or willingness to pay. Every customer is paying something, and then there is willingness to pay. Marketers knows that very well. That's a very important for a price point for them. So they know this, which is called B. Then there is a selling price, and then there is the cost. Now, think of this diagram as a sliding scale. This is given, you cannot change in the short term. You cannot change in the short term. Price, can you change in the short term? Absolutely, absolutely. So you could play with this sliding scale, you can take it upward, you can take it downward, and your strategy would change. Why would you do that? So like Hyundai, you will say, we don't have any market share. Let's invest into the customer value. You would slide this down and create more value for customers so that they could come back. Toyota does not need it. BMW does not need it. They are happy to have an equal balance close to, right? Or maybe they just want to make more money. They could slide it higher, which some immature business also do. They think their focus or their objective is profit maximization. So now if customer is willing to pay higher, let's increase the price higher. Very immature move from a marketing point of view. Now, many people in the business, even involved, do not understand that. And because I teach this to finance professionals, they make a mistake because in finance training, we don't cover these things. And in finance, you are only looking at the price and cost. And if you are not making money, they think we are losing, why are we making these products? Well, there are a lot of other considerations long term. So by leaving the money with the customers in customer value, you are investing into customers. Why Apple has $900 billion market value? $900 billion market value compared to, if you look at their balance sheet, is only $150 billion. Tangible assets only $150 billion, market value $900 billion. What is that gap of $750 billion? That's all about customer value, employees value, brand recognition, future promises, all these things. So there is a lot of intangible in today's business model. It used to be tangible that, look, you have a plant equipment, that is your value, you could produce these many goods. It's no more. Google is an internet company, already running in $500, $600 billion. But Apple is the best example. that how you create value, and that value is accumulated in your market value, right? So look how easy or simple this strategy thing is to play with the market share and play with the profitability. Shareholders have no problem with that. When you slide this down, of course their profit reduces, they are happy. They know this is for a longer cause. They want to fry a bigger fish, so they are happy with that. And total value created is a combination of the customer and shareholders value.